What's up, guys? Welcome back to the show. Another week of baseball in the books, and Arkansas continues to dominate at number 1 with Vanderbilt at number 2, just like we've been seeing all season. So we'll get into 25 in a few minutes, but Colby, welcome back.
Welcome back. A little more than a week off, but it was good. It was a good week of baseball, so I'm happy. And next week we're gonna go all in, so can't wait.
Yeah, we got final season wrapping up. It's been done for me for a while. You're getting to the finish line. Got my second vaccine, so everything's looking good. So we can just enjoy baseball now and do as many shows as we want. Get plenty of content for y'all.
Exactly. We got a ton of stuff planned on the YouTube podcast. We were gonna get new mics. We're gonna get a new camera. It's gonna be awesome once we're in person too.
Things are looking bright, and we're getting closer to that every day.
Yes, sir.
All right, so let's get into this 25. As I said, Arkansas and Vandy. No surprise there. We've come to expect that at this point. Mississippi State jumping up from number 4 to 3. Tennessee staying at 4. Texas to 5. TCU falling down to 6 after being at 3 previously. And Notre Dame 7 to 8. Florida 10 to 9. And Oregon 11 to 10. So we're seeing those little shifts, Not a ton of variability, but little movements.
Yeah, I mean, only one team dropped out, Old Dominion. UC Irvine jumped in at 24. Our top matchup from last week was Texas TCU. It was a great series for Texas fans, not really for TCU fans. But we got Tennessee, Arkansas this weekend with full capacity in Tennessee, which is going to be huge.
Yeah, we saw that with that game down at, where was it? Last week that Arkansas
LSU, right?
LSU, thank you. Yes, I don't know why I was drawing a blank there. They welcomed in
at the best stadium, yeah.
And
stadium in college baseball.
An awesome atmosphere down there.
Yeah, for sure. You want to get into top, it's getting close to the end. The episode title obviously is Let's Finish Strong. So we're coming down to the home stretch. So let's break down the top 5.
Let's do it. So in the rankings, SEC has the top 4 spots. Those conference playoffs will be an absolute bloodbath. You look at the standings, Arkansas is holding strong, but Mississippi State is only 1 game back in the SEC West standings because they have done pretty strong in conference play. They are 16-8. Ole Miss not far behind, only 3 games.
Yeah, and we'll get into Ole Miss, but I don't think they're going to catch them. And then in the East, Tennessee has a half a game lead on Vanderbilt, which is likely to disappear this weekend unless Tennessee just sweeps Arkansas, I guess, because it doesn't look like Vandy's going to lose 2 out of 3.
Yeah, I would be surprised, but yeah, exactly. And Florida still lurking, dangerous squad, only 2 games behind. I'm a believer in the Gators team, but we'll see. Franco Alamon has been Franco Alamon, and Judd Fabian's heating up too. He's now climbing those home run leaderboards, and it wasn't the start he was looking for, but he's looking like his old self now.
Yeah. No, I definitely agree. And I mean, the most valuable arm is for the best team in the league in college baseball, Kevin Cobb's. He had 7 1/3 innings pitched, 2 saves. He's in. I think he should be considered with the other 2 Vandy guys as one of the top pitchers in baseball.
Oh, absolutely. And you've seen those Vandy guys have some rocky outings the last few weeks. You still believe in their talent, but it's just Cops has been unbelievable. So you can't ignore what he's doing for the number 1 team in the country. And he keeps us up throughout the postseason and regionals. Yeah, big things are ahead for him.
Yeah, awards aren't based on potential. They're based on the success you had that year. And he's had the most success because Leiter has obviously fallen off since the no-hitter. And Rocker's been up and down of late. So, I mean, Cobbs is the only one, I'd say, who's consistently been the most dominant pitcher in baseball.
Yeah, he's the big reason why Arkansas has been up there for 11 straight weeks, number 1 in the power rankings. Longest streak since 2013 when North Carolina was up there. So very impressive. And they've taken 8 straight SEC series. So they've been doing what they need to do. And been pretty impressive to hold off Vanderbilt as they have all year. because we were expecting Vanderbilt to be that number 1 team, but don't doubt Arkansas.
Yeah. Yeah, and Cobb's was a big reason why they won that series, and they got another big series coming up this weekend. Like we said, 100% capacity in Tennessee. See how they stack up against the number 4 team in the country, who's also first place in the SEC East. So it's battle of first place.
Yeah, that's going to be an amazing matchup. One I will absolutely have my eyes on. Of course, we're going to watch UConn Villanova first, but then right after that game ends, we'll be catching up on our Arkansas Tennessee.
Yeah, for sure. Number 2 team in the rankings is also second in the SEC East. Like we said, half a game back of Tennessee. Leiter, that was weird, right? They announced on their Twitter he was getting the weekend off. Should we be concerned about that?
I mean, maybe they're trying to work on his mechanics, iron some things out, but anytime that a guy that you're expecting to be like a number 1 overall pick, or at least the first few, they just sit him down for a while. It's definitely not what you want to see. Get him tuned up for the stretch run, but yeah, it's a tough situation.
My thought behind it was maybe he's never pitched this much in his career.
That's a good point.
Since high school, because high school is not that long of a season. This is the most toll he's ever had on his arm, and that was the main concern everyone had with him versus Rocker at the beginning of the season. So maybe that's catching up to him, which should bring doubt to MLB teams, even though he has the potential. Maybe he just doesn't have the stamina.
It's a good point. I didn't really think of that too much, but you're absolutely right. You don't want to kill the guy just right now, so at least give him a week. Hope his arm can recover a little bit. I don't know. It's tough.
Yeah, and I mean, in the meantime, the freshman guys, Riley, who's the other guy? Mostly Riley, but
yeah, Riley did a nice job this weekend.
Yeah, they've all picked up the slack for Leiter being out, and Rocker had a shaky start this past weekend too.
It was weird. He started off amazing, punched out the first 7 guys he saw, including a 4 strikeout inning. The heater was 92, 94, curveball 78, 83, or slider, whatever. Some people call it different things. Kumar calls it a slider himself, but it has more of like that slider shape. He also throws another breaking ball at 85 to 87 that you could classify more as a slider. But yeah, and then started to fall apart in the 3rd inning a little bit for him. So ended up with the 13 Ks, but still not the line he wanted. Especially, Alabama's got a great team. They are 4th in the SEC West right now, but that's such a tough division that that's pretty good for them. But yeah,
only 5.5 games back.
Overwhelming dominance that you would have expected from him out of that start.
Yeah, and I mean, luckily they had Pat Riley and Christian Little. That was the other freshman I was forgetting about, who started the other 2 games and won both of theirs, I believe. Riley was great. Little's been maybe their most underrated pitcher. He's
very much so.
He's getting midweeks. He's getting weekend starts now with Leiter being on the mend for whatever reason. So I mean, maybe he's the key to them winning.
Well, assuming that they make the Vanderbilt run we're expecting to, everyone will get to know his name in regionals and the College World Series, because pitching depth is key for that. You really need those 4, preferably 5 strong starters to get you through it. 5 is a lot to ask for in the college game, but if you have it, it's a game changer.
For them, them and Arkansas might be the only teams where you don't need 5 because they have such strong bullpens too and power lineups. But Little being there 4 and pitching well, assuming Leiter the weekend off, maybe 2 weekends off, will give him enough rest to continue, and Rocker just figuring out his mechanics or something that's going on. I don't know. I'm not really sure what's wrong with him. I've been watching video, but I can't really pick it out. And then obviously Riley, he's been up and down too, but he seems to figure it out of late.
Yeah, it seems like Rocker's fastball is straight enough that you can square it up, I guess. So like I like to compare him to Max Scherzer. He'll still get the strikeouts, he'll still be dominant, but occasionally if he gets hits around, it's usually the fastballs just being straight 4-seamers that happens. I don't know. That's just what I feel, but I don't know. I still believe in him.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think if he wants to have success at the next level, either he's going to have to develop kind of like a fade to that fastball, or he's going to just throw it low in the zone. He can't throw it high because high it's going to get hit.
Yeah, well, we've seen all the wave with guys like Eric Cole throwing those two-seamers that just move ridiculously. So maybe a major league pitching coach will get him going on that.
Yeah, because he has great potential, but his
That's safe to
fastball is
say,
not
yeah.
like lighters.
He's still an amazing pitcher, but there are some kinks in the armor that they're going to try to work out.
And then speaking of the lineup, Enrique Bradfield Jr. and Carter Young, I'm not sure I can name a better 1-2 punch at the top of the lineup.
Is Enrique Bradfield Ricky Henderson 2.0?
He might be. Does he get the 162 bases in a year, though?
No, that might be a lot to ask for, but
Yeah,
he's
just
pretty
a
damn
bit.
good.
No, he's absurd. He's manning that out. He's only a freshman, too.
Yeah.
He's only going to get better, probably going to get faster, maybe bulk up a little bit. He's a little skinny, but he's pretty good player.
I'll take it. And we're going to get in the college game to enjoy him for a little while longer before he goes on to big things in pro ball. And yeah, that into Rodriguez behind the dish, and their lineup is a classic Vanderbilt powerhouse.
Yeah, and I mean, Carter Young, he's not Dansby Swanson, but he kind of reminds me of Dansby a little bit.
Yeah, no, I get you there. That's a pretty solid comp. There's some qualities that stand out.
Yeah, no, he's not their best shortstop they've ever had, obviously, but that bat at number 2, especially if Bradfield keeps getting on with the insane ways he's doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, and then they got their 3-4 guys. I mean, top down, I'm not sure there's just guy you want to pitch to.
No, that's safe to say. And you got those horses coming out of the bullpen and leading up the rotation and the lineup that just scores enough runs for them. How can you stop them?
Yeah, and I mean, the only thing I would say against them compared to Arkansas is they're fairly young because of the year off last year. They're not young per se, but compared to Arkansas, like Arkansas's pitching staff is the older staff. So
That's
I'd say
true,
that
yeah. Arkansas
might
has
give
got that
Arkansas
sense
the
of
benefit.
urgency.
Yeah.
I guess you could say Vanderbilt does a little bit too with those top 2 hitting the draft, but granted, they're just a factory of arms.
Yeah, and I mean, this is only Leiter's first full year. This is only Rocker's second full year.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a factor. I don't know how much it's going to matter because, I mean, like we saw in the ELO rankings that we'll talk about, I mean, it was basically chalk for the top 8 seeds. So maybe, but like you got to think like a team like UConn where it's very veteran driven. Team like Fairfield, a lot of veterans starting. I'm not saying they're going to go all the way, but there's a lot of teams like that could make surprising runs.
Noise will be made. Yes, exactly. We got that same sense of urgency here with all the veterans in our lineup. Once again, like Vanderbilt, we consistently can develop good players, but it's that special combination of talent that we have right now that we want to take advantage of.
Exactly. And then number 3 team in the country, second in the SEC West, a game behind Arkansas, like we said, Mississippi State. They lost the series finale in extra innings to South Carolina. However, they dominated them the first 2 games.
Yeah. And I mean, that game was an 11-inning thriller, so South Carolina had to fight back. So even so, it's not like they got blown out of the water. Their lineup was dominating the whole series, and it was just the pitching that unraveled a little bit in that game.
Yeah, I mean, Mississippi State was up 3-2 with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th, South Carolina. South Carolina came back, scored 1, and then ended up winning it in the 11th behind some very strong pitching on their part. So props to them because they're playing for a regional spot, a regional host spot potentially.
No, definitely. Mississippi State turning it on at the right time, though. They've only lost 1 game since that Vanderbilt series, and their only 2 losses have been to Vandy and Arkansas, which is sweet. But I mean, those teams are amazing, so it's forgivable and got fuel for the fire for if they meet again.
Yeah, I mean, they got vets. Like we said, the veterans are going to probably run the College World Series this year, if I have to assume, just because of the year off and all the sense of urgency everywhere around campus. I remember Coach Penders has said this is probably the best year of college baseball ever. And I mean, we're seeing that right now. But Mississippi State especially, they got some veterans on the staff, veterans in the field. They could pull it off too. I mean, considering their only 2 series losses were to the top 2 teams in the country. they get out of the SEC, potentially they could pull off something.
That's the thing. You feel whatever team gets out of the SEC is going to get the job done because it's the SEC. I don't think we need to explain that one.
And they got the top 4 teams.
Yeah, exactly. So if their veterans can pull through, they have every bit the look of a championship team. So I'm a believer in Mississippi State.
Yeah, me too. And then Tennessee, first place in the SEC East, only by half a game. Obviously, they lost the series to Vandy already, but they're still got half a game on them. They announced yesterday, I believe, that they're going to go 100% capacity for the Arkansas series, which is their biggest series to date now because Vandy dropped to 2.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, that in-state rivalry is big. But
yeah,
I think if you can beat Arkansas, that's a bigger game.
Oh, no doubt. Just in the nick of time. Coming off a sweep of Missouri, so they're feeling good, feeling confident in themselves coming in. So that's must-watch baseball, no doubt.
Yeah, for sure. And then Texas, they're looking pretty legit.
Yeah. Took that series over number 6 TCU. They're still 1 game back in the Big 12 standings for first place, but yeah, they got some big potential.
Yeah, no, I mean, basically, they got West Virginia this weekend, and TCU has K-State, Kansas State. Well, they sweep West Virginia or take 2 out of 3, and TCU loses 2 out of 3 or 1 out of 3, depending on how Texas does. They got the series win over TCU, so they could go right into first. And I think that's going to be a bigger deal than most people realize with the playoff implications, because the winner of the Big 12 it's definitely hosting, but the runner-up I don't think is going to host a region.
Yeah, that's a safe call. Yeah, I would agree. West Virginia, it seems like a team they can take advantage of. And while TCU will be fired up to Kent State, they're coming off of a little bit of a beatdown against Texas. So, yeah, it's going to be big implications going on right there.
Yeah, and their center fielder is in a slump.
He is. There's some reasons for that we've heard from our exclusive TCU source.
Yeah, apparently he got a girlfriend, so now he's not as motivated to play baseball. We can't confirm or deny that. That's just what we've heard.
Yeah, it's a tough look, but sometimes these things happen.
Yeah.
As Steve Adazio says, just guys being dudes.
Yeah, I mean, you can't argue that fact. Some more college baseball news that we'd like to highlight. Ole Miss, this is why we talked about how they probably aren't going to catch Arkansas or Mississippi State. Unfortunately, their ace, who was projected as the number 4 prospect on college top 100 list, tore his UCL and is now out for the season and probably out for next season.
Yeah, Gunner Hoglund, he's been having a real strong year for that team, but that hurts. There's no way around it. Just like we said about LSU when Jane Hill went down, you lose your ace and a top draft guy. It goes without saying that hurts. So, yeah, it's very unfortunate that happened, but not much you can do about it. And at least they had one good story about tears. Our team captain, Tim Elko, he's coming off of an ACL tear that he sustained on April 5th. But he came back after rehabbing for the last month on Saturday, re-entered the lineup, 3-run bomb in their victory over Texas A&M. So at least they had that to help them feel a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I mean, I watched him run the bases, and I was like, well, if he didn't have a home run, he's not making it past first base.
Yeah, it was a little bit of a struggle.
But very impressive.
Yeah. Balls of steel for Tim Elko. Yeah,
and I mean, it just shows that, like, you can play on a torn ACL, I guess. Probably not the smartest idea, but hey, he's got heart, and that's all you can count.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, is it going to go great? Probably not. But, like, hey, you can still stand in the box and swing. So that's all you need to do, I guess. Just hope you hit a lot of deep balls in the gap or home runs so you don't have to do a ton of running.
Yeah, exactly. Southern Miss. They had a pretty good pitching weekend, I'd say. One day after Hunter Stanley threw a complete game shutout with 16 strikeouts. Walker Powell spent his senior day, nonetheless, no-hitting Middle Tennessee. He's overcome 2 Tommy Johns, which is, I mean, that's incredible as it is. in his time as a Golden Eagle. So that's, I mean, what a comeback story, overcome 2 Tommy Johns and then on senior day throw a no-hitter.
Yeah, he was really emotional afterwards. So that was cool to see. A guy that deserves it. Tough weekend for the Middle Tennessee Bats, but yeah, Southern Miss is a real dangerous squad. I don't want to brag, but UConn saw Powell and scored 6 runs on him over 5 innings. But no, he had an amazing weekend.
No, but this is
So
about him. This
is no. That's a conversation for another day. But yeah, no, that was a great moment for Powell. Southern Miss, the crowd was going nuts. Their announcer had a great call of it. If you saw the clip on Twitter, so yeah, that was a cool moment.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, to throw no hitter is one thing. That's super cool, but to do it on senior day after overcoming 2 major injuries that
Oh
put
yeah,
you out for 2 seasons, that's incredible. That's awesome.
it's the perfect storm. And speaking of the perfect storm for a no hitter, we had 2 other ones this weekend. Hartford this week, they announced that their board had elected to move them to D3. And obviously that was not a popular decision. It's a shame. I don't know what the reasoning behind it was. I'm not going to speculate on it, but
Probably money. I have no
yeah,
idea.
it's got to be, but it just sucks. There's no way around it. So Nicholas Domkowski, he responds by saying, okay, yeah, I'll just go out and throw a no-hitter. Second one in program's D1 history. He was
Why not?
amazing. Yeah.
Stick it to him.
Yeah, exactly. A little bit. Against Albany, I believe it was. And then their softball team, they protested it. They covered up, taped over Hartford on their uniforms. So it's an odd weekend down there with some awesome and some very sad.
Yeah, and I mean Dave, who we had on earlier, he went to Hartford, played D1 baseball
right.
for them. So you gotta wonder how he feels. Maybe we'll ask him.
Shout out to him. First hit in the history of the Rocket City Trash Pandas.
All-time name.
Really
All-time
is.
name.
And what a cool moment for him to get that first hit.
Yeah, no one deserves it more after 2 years away from the game. Great
Absolutely.
for him.
And such a great dude. He was amazing in our interview with him. Perfect way
Yeah.
to kick off the first guest ever of Beyond the Diamond.
Yeah, and I saw him, like I said in the interview, I've seen him work out all winter last year and this year. No one deserves it more. He worked hard for it.
Definitely. That made me very happy to see that. And one more note on the no-hitters. Justin Campbell of Oklahoma State. He also threw one just because pitching is king. Why not? Let's add another no-hitter in there.
And then another highlight we'd like to talk about, Tyler Bossetti for Nevada. He set the NCAA record with home runs in 9 consecutive games. He continued his streak with a first-running moonshot against Arizona State on Monday. Well, that's just the record you didn't think you'd see broken.
Yeah, everybody thought it would be Wes Clark after that start he had, which was amazing, and he's still doing pretty well. But Bossetti has just turned it up to another level. And there was a D1 baseball regional projection that had Nevada and UConn in the same bracket. So this is a guy we'll have to be careful facing if it comes to that.
Yeah, no, they're definitely beatable, but I mean, one swing changes the game.
Yeah, it's a dangerous threat, safe to say.
Especially in the year of pitching, a great record to be broken.
Yeah, we're just out here talking about all these no-hitters, and meanwhile, Bossetti's like, all right, sure, 9 home runs in a row.
And another guy who went absolutely bananas this weekend, Will Frizzell from Mississippi State.
Yes.
No. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, from Mississippi State. No. Forget I said that. I don't remember.
It's Texas A&M.
I think it was, it's Texas A&M. I knew it was Red School. My bad,
well, they were playing Ole Miss, so we had Mississippi on the mind.
Exactly. They played Ole Miss this weekend. He went over the 3 games, 7 for 12, 5 home runs, 11 RBIs.
Against the number 6 team in the country, nonetheless.
Not too shabby.
I'll take that line any day.
I mean, I can't complain, especially in the year of the pitcher.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, we just sit here talking about all these pitchers, and then these guys are doing this. It just makes it even more amazing. There's another guy that went off this weekend, Kyler Fedko of your UConn Huskies, but we'll get into that later.
Yeah, he definitely did, though. UConn as a whole went pretty good. It did pretty good.
Yeah.
And we talked about these ELO rankings and projections for the 8 teams for Omaha earlier, but looking at it, it has the 1 seed as Mississippi State, 2 Arkansas, 3 Texas, 4 Vandy, 5 Florida, 6 TCU, 7 Texas Tech, 8 Tennessee. I mean, Vandy at 4, they must know something about lighter that we don't. Otherwise, the top 4 is fairly good. I guess it's because they think Mississippi State, Tennessee is probably the matchup that stood out to me, besides Texas TCU, obviously.
Mhm.
Florida at 5 is a little bit of a surprise, but the rest I can get on board with.
I think Vandy and Florida are it's going to be a more competitive series than people think. Everybody just assumes Vandy is amazing, which they are, but Florida's dangerous. That's a hungry
They
team.
were the preseason number 1.
They were. And they've been heating up the last few weeks. Like I said, Jed Fabian is himself again. So that's a series that I can't wait to watch. And we know how dangerous Texas Tech is as well. So yeah, them and Arkansas will be matchup for the ages. But
yeah, I'm just curious how they landed on Mississippi State over Arkansas, considering Arkansas's run the table this entire year.
you know, I can't explain that one, but I don't know. Maybe we can get some sort of expert on the show to explain that because we think we're experts, but then I can't explain this. Mississippi State's amazing, but Arkansas is the clear-cut number 1.
And honestly, if I'm Texas, I'm loving this matchup against TCU. You just beat them in the regular season series. I think of all of them, that's the best. That's the team you want to play. They're every other team's on the up. TCU seems to be on the down.
Oh, certainly no disrespect to TCU, but yeah, you have to just assume Texas is going to take care of business there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No disrespect though.
No, I love TCU's team, but yeah, it's very possible that Texas.
That's probably the most favorable team you want to play right now, just based on baseball works in weird ways, and you want to play a cold team, not a hot team.
That is very true. Can't argue that. So yeah, that's what we're looking at these ELO rankings.
Yeah, I don't know how ELO works. I forget, but I mean,
we'll figure out how ELO works when we figure out how RPI works because
exactly. Thought apparently they use them both. I don't know.
You can have a low strength of schedule, but still be number 1 in RPI.
I guess so. And we were talking about veterans before, so I think due to such good competition, there's a good chance it's a chalk bracket. But I mean, it wouldn't be college baseball if there wasn't a Cinderella team.
Oh, exactly. I think there's going to be a lot of noise made, but yeah.
And
certainly I know like you would think it would be a chalk bracket.
I know I was talking to you earlier yesterday. There's not a single. They don't think the West guys are going to do any good. I mean, look, we had Arizona come in second 2 years ago. I think Oregon or Stanford, they could make a run.
I can't talk today. Stanford is dangerous. They rose up 4 spots from 16 to 12 over the last week. I'm certainly not discounting them.
No, I think we got to take a better look at the West, but I think one Western team will make the top 8.
That's like the classic Mike Trout situation. People don't realize how good Mike Trout is because they don't watch West Coast baseball that much.
Yeah, meanwhile, he's batting .390.
Is pretty damn good.
Yeah, I mean, I know when D1 baseball was talking about it, how like those Pac-12 games they're fun, but they're always so late, no one can watch them, which is unfortunate.
Yeah, Oregon has been amazing at 10 after starting off the year not ranked. UCLA's fallen to 23 after being number 2 to start, but certainly can't discount them.
No.
They're still the number 23 team in the country.
Oregon swept Oregon State. Like, you don't just sweep your in-state rival like that.
No, that's just not something that happens lightly.
No. Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's at least one Cinderella. I guess we consider the West a Cinderella. Mm-hmm. Maybe a northeast team could make it. I don't know. I feel like UConn or Fairfield are probably 2 best bets, and
you can't discount Pitt either. But
yeah, Pitt.
I don't know if that would even be.
I think Notre Dame's really a dark horse, I'd say.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I don't know if they have the pitching to keep up, but I think that's what it's going to come down to. For all the batters we talk about, it's the year of the pitcher. It's going to be pitching that wins it
Yeah,
this year.
as much as I don't want to face that Notre Dame lineup, it is the pitching that will be the most key. That's how I've always felt about it.
Yeah, that's why Pitt's good. That's maybe why Vandy's at 4, if I had to guess. They don't trust their pitching, which, I mean, seems insane, but also I can understand.
I can understand, but imagine if I told you that on opening day.
Imagine if I told you that after Leiter threw his no-hitter.
It was looking an all-time high.
Yeah.
After the night before, we were just like, okay, Kumar's undisputed #1. Leiter's like, no.
Not too fast.
I'm good.
I'm like, nah, he's going to throw a no-hitter. He did.
We have the tapes.
Yeah. So now a little bit about Fairfield this past week. They swept Niagara in Niagara. Quite the trip. They were there Friday to Sunday. They came back Sunday night, Monday morning. You know, it's up in Buffalo. It's Niagara Falls. It's far drive.
Yeah.
They locked up the 1 seed for the MAAC tournament, which is a 2-round tournament this year. The first round is the top 8 teams face off. One loss, single elimination. There we go. It's May 21st to the 23rd, and then the top 4 do a double elimination tournament at the top seeds host. So if Fairfield wins the 3-game series against the number 8 seed, they host the entire thing the weekend after, the 27th to the 31st. So, I mean, it should be fun. Right now, we're projected to go to Pitt to face UCLA. Great bulletin board material they have on us. So that's not exciting.
This is what happens when you roast a team on your opening day show.
Yep.
But they lost the series to San Francisco. They deserved it.
Yeah, I don't see San Francisco in the rankings. So UCLA still
having a pretty good year.
Yeah, not UCLA though.
No,
UCLA sucks.
UCLA should be.
For all the West Coast baseball we like, we don't like UCLA. More bulletin board material, lovely.
They're just gonna have the podcast written in the dugout, just beyond the diamond. They'll know what it means.
They'll know.
I'll have a picture of you up.
I'll have that picture you made.
So yeah, on to UConn. It was a big implications for the Big East in this series. We took 3 out of 4 for St. John's. It was a really competitive weekend of ball. We really needed to win the series. If we had even split, it would not have been great. But we pulled that game out in extra innings on Sunday. Kyler Fedko, going by the Sky Warden as his nickname now, he is unbelievable. He's hitting .414 this year. Was playing on a hamstring. It's not 100% either. He's absolutely terrorizing the conference. Made a diving catch to save that game too. Kept it at bay. So just a little bit on Friday. He was the star because we were down in the 8th inning, 3-2. Austin Peterson got us through 7. Pitched well, but a 2-out, 2-run double, a little bleeder down the line. Kyler gave us the first lead. Then Caleb Worcester came in and struck out the side in the 9th inning because he is the man.
He does that.
That's what he tends to do. Nick Mondak, who has some draft potential for them, started. He went 6, gave up 1 run. 10 hits, though. We got some runners on base against him, but we kept stranding them. But I mean, he's pretty good, so that's his job to make strand him. Then doubleheader on Saturday. This is what pissed me off. Game 1 was 7 innings because in conference doubleheaders. The 8th inning is the UConn Huskies' best inning. At the time, I forget exactly what it is now, but at the time we had scored 53 runs this year in the 8th inning. I don't want to jinx anything, but that's where this team takes off. Thrive on that late environment against the team setup, man. Pat Winkle had a home run. Christian Fedko an RBI ground out. Ben Kasparius pitched solid, got through 3 runs in 5 innings. But ultimately it wasn't enough. Couldn't get the job done, but we rebounded. Pat Gallagher was unreal in game 2. 7 shutout innings, 8 strikeouts, only 2 hits and 1 walk. Did an awesome job. Reggie Crawford got a 2-run single to put us up 2-0. Chris Winkle added a run in the 4th. Eric Stock an RBI groundout. And Chris Brown had his first college career home run. And one more note.
Good for him.
Yeah, definitely. Our third baseman. He didn't have his best series, so it was nice to see him get that hit there because he started turning it on in the latter half of the series after he struggled a little bit. I mean, he had been out because he was contact traced from COVID too. So now that he's heating up a little, he's dangerous bat for us at the bottom of that order. Had a big weekend against Bucknell too. And one more note from that game, Chris Winkle, one of our personal favorites here. He's the man. He got his 200th career hit as a Husky. He's been a captain for the last 3 years, fifth-year senior. He's the 21st Husky to get that accomplishment. So really happy for him to see that go down.
Yeah, great for him. Not to brag, I got 243 hits in the show season this year, but good for him.
Not all of us can be Colby Rush in the show, but that's what we strive to be.
Exactly. That's 450 too.
And then Sunday's game, that was some baseball right there.
It was.
I was not a fan of the strike zone behind the plate, but we won the game.
Some you lose some there.
It's all good. It's all good. Kind of a bullpen day for us. Joe Simeone looked good, and we didn't have a very long leash on him, but we kind of want to maximize what he can do. Just let him go all out for the first couple innings. So he did a nice job. We were down 2-1 in the 8th inning, though. They were doing really well on the mound. Tyler Roche started for them, 4 1/3 shutout, punched out 6. But the bat seated up once he came out of the game. Ethan Robertson, he's their closer. Reminds me a lot of Stephen Schock, the closer down in Virginia. Got that, big beard, long hair, sidearm submarine delivery.
Yeah. Baseball guy vibe.
Baseball guy, definitely. Got that, eastbound and down look.
He got country walkout song too?
I'm not sure. I couldn't. ESPN didn't want to keep the stream going in between innings. We're also mad at ESPN because they didn't show Pat Winkle's home run on Saturday in game 1. They cut back as it was going over the fence and never showed a replay.
That's classic ESPN.
Yeah. But Zach Bushling tied the game off of Ethan Routson in the 8th inning with a 2-run double. So that was fun. And then Andrew Marrero had a scoreless 8th inning. Caleb Borster did his job well. Kyler Fedko came back and did what Kyler Fedko does. 2-run single, got us up 5-3. Caleb got the job done. Nice day for the bullpen. So we are now off to Villanova after Northeastern canceled a midweek game. That would have been a great matchup because they've been on 17-game winning streak, I think it was.
Yeah, they're red hot.
They had to make up an in-conference game this week. Understandable because conference games are very important this time of the year. So that midweek won't happen, but all we got left on the schedule is Villanova. Still technically have a midweek against URI. Don't know if that'll be played just because it seems like all those midweeks are doomed at this time of the year, but hopefully it will be. And then we finish up Seton Hall at home to cap off the regular season before hopefully we get in that Big East tournament. So that is your latest.
You guys will have enough games, right? If you those 8 more games.
Knock on wood, as long as nothing crazy happens, we should be fine.
Yeah, I think you'll be fine. But yeah, no, it was a great series. I watched most of it. St. John's, they're an upstart team this year, but still great competition.
That's the thing. Their record's very deceiving. You look at it and you're like, okay, they're not that great, but they're young and they're hungry. And this was like the World Series. They really wanted to prove themselves against us. This has been a Big East rivalry for a long time. So much so that they had John Fanta calling the game for ESPN. He's like Mr. Big East Media. But yeah, no, they impressed me. And even though we took the series, they played us really hard.
Yeah. No, they were good.
Also, before we get into the MLB, we want to give a little high school shout out here. Our Xaverian Brothers High School, Marc Cedrone goes out there and pitches out the first no-hitter in 17 years, punched out 11 against BC High. So that was impressive.
Yeah, I think we're gonna add a new segment to the show, high school shout out. We'll figure out a name for it, but our first edition of high school shout out for Beyond the Diamond was Marc Cedrone's no-hitter for Xaverian against BCI. Great job by him.
Yeah, we got the Hawks finally playing after, COVID. Yay. Starting the year a little late, but hey, they're back at it and they're looking good. So
yeah.
Jerry Lambert's spot, they'll be playing like themselves.
2-0 start. They look like a wagon this year. They're gonna run train on the Catholic Conference. Probably win it all. No biggie.
Just our high school right there.
Yeah. So now on to the MLB, like Hunter said. First thing I would like to know, obviously as a Giants fan, I think this is a big thing. Buster Posey doesn't technically qualify for all the top batting average, but he's hitting 400. Who cares if he qualifies? He's hitting 400 at 34. He was
He'll get
washed,
there.
I thought. I thought he was washed, everyone said.
Sources had told me he was done, especially after opting out last year. But
Yeah,
no.
him and Molina. Molina's hitting like 325.
Yeah, and nobody wanted him all off season. It's just like, yeah,
They're the
I
two
guess
best.
I'll go back to the Cardinals.
Take Vasquez out of the conversation. They're the two best catchers in baseball right now, and they were the two best catchers all last decade.
Yeah. Joey Bart's doing well in AAA, but you can't take Buster out of the lineup. He's better than ever.
No, maybe they'll have to pull a Mauer type move and move him to first next year if Belt doesn't come back. But and if Bart progresses that much, but I mean the 1-2 punch of him and Casali, who's just like somehow every pitcher throws like a one hitter with
I was just
Casali
gonna say,
catching.
all he does is catch shutouts.
Yeah, the shutouts, one hitters, 1-run games. Everyone throws a gem to him. I don't know what he's doing different than Posey, but Posey's hitting. He changed his stance, and now he's hitting 400. He's hitting like 450 off fastballs, 333 off speed, and then like 360 off breaking pitches. He's just
That's
seeing the
unreal.
ball in that park too.
Old guys rule for the Giants. Brandon Crawford's doing his thing too. A couple home runs the other day.
And Belt and Longoria, the old heads, they still got it.
They do.
And
Love
then
to
the new
see
school
that.
Red Sox, kind of new school. They're young veterans. I think that's a better.
That's a good way to put it. You got a guy like Kike that's been around the block, but
Besides
certainly not
Verdugo,
old.
yeah. Besides Verdugo and Devers, they're young old guys.
Yeah,
Bogarts
I like
isn't old, but he's old in baseball years.
just played his 1,000th game. Awesome.
That's crazy.
But yeah, he's certainly not old. He's in the prime of his career. He's
the best shortstop in the game.
That's what I say. So I think the only one that comes close is Trey Turner, Tatis, maybe if he's healthy. But
I think the numbers
I have
say
my
Turner.
money on Bogarts as the most consistent, absolutely any day of the week.
I think it's actually Story's number 2 statistically, but he doesn't get any credit because he's in Colorado. He's going to be traded though. I heard to the Yankees, which just whatever. Sure, I guess. I don't know.
Okay, well, speaking of Colorado, I know a guy that people said was just a Colorado product, but I don't think he is. Nolan Arenado is hitting. His line is 281, 340, 511. He's got 6 homers, including one against his old team the other day, and a 1.3 WAR. Can we officially now all agree what some of us knew before, that he's better than just a Colorado product?
Cardinals are red hot, and he's behind that. Well, besides Flaherty, doing his cool thing, hitting home runs and striking out guys. But I mean, Goldschmidt's starting to heat up, but Arenado's been the most consistent guy with Molina being on the IL right now.
Yeah, I mean, he's a superstar, one of the best third basemen in the game. We can debate who's better, but I love Nolan, and I love that trade for them. The Rockies.
They won that trade
rough.
easily, and
Yikes.
I was always a fan of him, but I couldn't be because he was on the Rockies. I'm all in on Nolan Arenado now.
Yeah, he's been just exactly what St. Louis needed. So, yeah, he's the man.
Another veteran who's looking like his old self, Madison Bumgarner. He threw a no-hitter. It's a no-hitter. Let's be real.
No air quotes. It's a no-hitter.
It's a no-hitter. 7 innings. He did what he was supposed to do. He didn't allow hits in the game. But, Manfred's going to Manfred.
Manfred
and then
says 7 innings is a real baseball game. Okay, then stats show it's a real baseball game. He threw a no-hitter.
Yep. Why do complete games and shutouts count then? Yeah. Whatever. Well, last night against the Marlins, he looked like vintage Mad Bum again. I think he allowed like 2 hits over 7 innings. His velocity is definitely down, like it's been the past few years, but he's unhittable still.
Hey, he's got that deceptive arm anyway, so yeah, as long as he spots, he'll be fine. And
yeah.
I love Mad Bum. He just goes out there and pitches with guts. So he
doesn't care. He has like the best dry humor I've ever heard. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he's enjoying also what will probably be the last year of pitchers being able to hit.
Exactly.
So we'll savor that while it lasts.
Yeah. Well, talking about a pitcher that can hit, Shohei Ohtani is the most skilled player we've ever seen in baseball. Granted, we didn't see Babe Ruth play, so I have no comparison, but Last night he struck out 10 over 7 innings.
Against a
I think
very
he
good
had two-
Astros lineup, nonetheless.
Again, yes, a very good Astros lineup. No one gives them credit because of the cheating scandal, but they're good this year.
They're dangerous.
Dusty Baker has a good squad.
I don't
With
care
Verlander out too.
where they are in the standings, but yeah, exactly. They'll get Verlander back at some point.
I think they're
I'm still
technically
all in on the Astros.
they're either second or third. I don't know where the Mariners are. I know the A's are first, but I mean, he struck out 10 over 7 innings, had 2 singles, I believe. No home runs, but you know, can't have that every night.
Oh no.
Still hard hit balls to right field. And then he played right field.
Yeah, speaking of right field, he goes out and does that. He's telling
why
you
not do
that
it all?
I want to play out there. So why not?
Not going to take his bat out of the lineup if he doesn't have to.
Shohei is a god. Unfortunately, one bat the Angels got taken out of the lineup. It was sad, but Albert was released. Wonder where he'll end up.
I saw he might just not sign because if he doesn't sign, he's eligible to play on the Dominican team for the Olympics.
Yeah, that's an interesting storyline. Now, as someone that loves like amateur baseball, which that's what a lot of the Olympics will be, that's awesome to see Albert play in that. It would be more cool to see him, you know, get through what will more than likely be his last year in the show. But either way, just give me some more Albert. We've had Albert for 20 years, but I just want one more. Maybe
a little time off, mashes in the Olympics, then Cardinals sign him, and he goes off in a song. You know, goes off happy.
Yeah, big pinch hit moment in the World Series.
Big time. We talked about no hitters in college baseball. Well, there was 2 no hitters, which makes it 4 on the year, which is 5 if you count Bumgarner.
5, Madison.
Yeah,
Bumgarner.
it's 5 according to Beyond the Diamond. John Means is the AL Cy Young right now. He's the best pitcher in the AL. He's having quite the resurgence from 2 years ago, thinking he updated his LinkedIn profile because he didn't think he was going to play baseball anymore.
Yeah, he is so slept on. He's filthy. He's fun to watch pitch. I mean, you knew when he went out on opening day and dominated that Red Sox lineup that he had big things in store for him this year. Started to come on the scene a little bit back half of last year after being an all-star in 2019. But yeah, Means is amazing.
You got to wonder who's going to trade for him because he's not part of the Orioles plan. They can't win. They're not trying to win.
He's young enough that they'll hold on to him for a while, but I mean, it's gonna get to that point.
He's at the age because he's 29. He's at the age where pitchers now are pitching into their almost their 40s, late 30s, but he's at the baseball age where like his career should be over. So I don't know, maybe if the trade value is high enough, they'll trade him.
It feels like Whit Merrifield to me, a team that's not ready to compete yet. They want to hold on to that one guy that's like a little bit of a late bloomer, but is the star of their team. And, you know, we can go back and forth. They could get a ton for him, but they also really want to have him there. Young guys learn from him. He brings people to the ballpark. So I don't know. If I had to guess, I doubt he'll be in Baltimore his whole career, but let's just enjoy it while we can.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think because I'm hearing Scherzer's going to be on the market. So, I mean, you got to expect those would probably be the top 2 starters. Maybe Luis Castillo might be on the market if the Reds still suck.
Maybe. Yeah.
I mean, I hope the Giants get all of them, but that's not going to happen. They don't need them, though.
Well, you talk about Max being on the market. Nationals easily could have swept the Yankees, but Brad Hand just decided to continue to not enjoy pitching against the Yankees. It's the same story every time he comes in with these great numbers, but the Yankees lineup just does not gel with him. Blew both saves, and they lost those games.
Him and Miller were the star of that 2016 bullpen. What happened?
I don't know what's happened.
I wish I could tell you. The Nationals and bullpens just don't go together.
They don't. I mean, they literally won a World Series in spite of it because they kept running out Patrick Corbin.
Yeah, and they I mean, they would throw out bullpen guys, and then as soon as they had the shortest leash I've ever seen in baseball.
Well, I mean, yeah, it was like Javi Guerra was their 4th best reliever. Nothing against Javi Guerra, but yeah, it would be like Tanner Rainey. They wanted to trust, and then sometimes it went good, sometimes it didn't. Hudson and Doolittle were the only guys they had faith in. That's safe to say.
Yeah, and even then, Doolittle still blew a few games.
And yeah, Hudson got hit around a little bit by the Astros in the World Series, but he was filthy to finish it. So hooray for that.
Yeah, if the 3-batter minimum exists that year, the Astros would probably have won the World Series.
Well, I think the Astros' biggest Achilles heel there was letting Garrett Cole sit in that bullpen, as Will Harris let Howie Kendrick go.
Yeah. We talked about the Snell thing last year. I still think that's a bigger deal.
I don't think enough people talked about it. I mean, we talked about it for a while, but like everyone's going to talk about Snell forever. I think that the Cole one, the Astros might have won the World Series in that case.
That's like the Giants in 2014, trotting out Tim Hudson. He gets hit around a little bit. Then in the 4th inning, yeah, no, we're going to leave Bochy being like, nah, Bumgarner doesn't need to come in. 5-inning save.
I mean, the morning of Game 7, that was all I was talking about. Okay, well, we're going to get Greinke. He'll throw a couple innings, and then Cole will just go as long as he's still pitching well.
It was supposedly supposed to be the exact same situation. 2 days rest, pitch him as long as he can. As soon as you get the lead, put him in.
I mean, things got weird because Greinke was unbelievably dominant in that game.
Yeah.
But then he gave up that home run to Rendon, and they went to Will Harris instead. Nothing against Will Harris. Yep. He was having a great series, but they figured out what his recipe was.
Yeah. And if you remember correctly, so, I mean, so he fixed that, I think, in the 2nd inning, tipping the pitches.
Mm-hmm.
And then, then he was on.
Yeah, the pitch shipping is tough. But yeah, exactly. Figured it out and got the job done.
And looking back to 2014, I mean, the talk of the before Game 7 was, is Bumgarner going to start the game? They thought he was just going to pitch the entire game.
I mean, I guess I was going to say, I guess he's not God. You can't ask too much out of him, but I think he proved that he was God. He looks like
the best pitcher. He's the best postseason pitcher I've ever seen. Obviously got Bob Gibson's there too, but modern day, he's the best postseason pitcher ever.
Yeah, I love Bob Gibson, but exactly, this game is a little different now. And
0.25
unreal.
World Series ERA over 3 World Series.
That's not bad, huh?
And the only run was in Game 1 of 2014.
Yeah.
Home run.
Oh, that's right. I don't know. Wonder how different things would have been if they sent Alex Gordon.
They should have.
I think he would have been.
I know they should have. I watched the game. They
forced him to make a good throw.
I mean, I have. If I had to guess, Crawford would have come up clutch and thrown him out.
I think so as well.
But you never know.
But you still got to force him to make that throw.
Yeah. Let's see. What else do we have on here?
Well, let's shift gears a little bit.
DeGrom,
Jared Kelnick's getting the call. Oh, okay. We can do DeGrom first.
No, we can do. No, I like that.
All right. Well, we're on the same subject.
Talk about the Mariners and how they
Mets sadness.
Yeah, let's talk about the Mariners and how Mariners and Mets, how they both seem to mess up everything.
Mets sadness items of the week. Jared Kelnick gets the call in Seattle. Jacob DeGrom leaves the game and goes in the IL. And Lindor and McNeil hate each other, even though they were just arguing about a raccoon.
Yeah, we don't have to talk about their walk-off. No, I mean, him getting called up, that trade was awful for the Mets. Everyone knew it. It's panned out to be awful for the Mets. But the Mariners somehow might have won up the Mets because their best player already hates them.
That's true. No, we're just going to manipulate his service time. That was a great look.
I mean,
we all knew it, but you didn't need to say it.
I mean, the Blue Jays tried to do the same thing with Guerrero, but no one said it outright.
Yeah, exactly.
Padres did the same thing with Tatis, but then signed him to a massive deal.
Chris Bryant is the most popular example too.
Yeah, and I think this might be the Mariners. We were talking about this in the group chat last night. They somehow had Griffey, A-Rod, Johnson, and who's the fourth guy?
Jay Buhner.
Yeah. No, the DH.
Oh, Edgar.
Edgar. all on the same team and they only won 90 games. How do you do that?
I don't know. Swap out Griffey for Ichiro and win, the most games ever, and then don't make the playoffs ever again.
I mean, you had two of the best players of their generation, Griffey and Ichiro, not on the same team, and Johnson for that matter.
Yeah.
And you couldn't win a World Series at any
They did
point.
enough to save the kingdom, but they didn't do enough to actually win ball games. Oh, when it mattered.
I saw we'll talk about this later, but the A's might be relocated. I saw someone that said move them to Seattle. They don't have a real baseball team anyway. And I can't argue it.
They might move to Portland and have two teams in that market.
Yeah, no, I still like Nashville or Alaska better.
I was going to say. Yeah, Alaska. That's a good one. The Alaska
no,
A's.
I think Nashville's a great baseball.
That's what I want to see. Yeah, that's
baseball's country. Nashville is country. Move them together. That would be a big fan base.
Imagine the anthem singers you could get to that place. My God.
That'd be awesome. Yeah, no. So more about DeGrom on the IL. I hope it's not serious, but at the same time, he just didn't look right. He was still pitching hard, but he just didn't look right.
Yeah, he throws that pitch, makes that cringy face. That's just the last thing anybody wants. I guess other teams in the NL East, but no, let's be real. No one wants.
No one wants an injury, especially
he comes out of the game with that. I guess we're lucky. It was just side tightness they described it as, and it wasn't anything to do with his arm. So be glad about that. But yeah, that was tough.
But still, I mean, it could be like a core muscle injury, and you don't want that.
No, not
Those
at
are
all.
Bad. The other NL MVP favorite, which Posey should be in the conversation for that, but that's whatever. Ronald Acuna Jr. and Vladdy Guerrero Jr. had a show for the ages last night. I mean, it was quite the game.
Wouldn't be an episode of Beyond the Diamond if we didn't talk about Acuna. But yeah, that was amazing. Two guys living up to all that hype.
Yeah, both third years, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, Vladdy's finally getting through. Acuna, we saw it a little bit last year.
Fourth year.
But I mean,
Arnold, actually.
We saw it a little bit. No, last year kind of counts, but whatever.
Yeah.
No, he's like a superstar now, which we knew was going to happen, but he's on a whole nother level. He took the home run lead back last night. And he didn't even know he hit a home run. That was the best part. It was like the first one that wasn't a no doubter.
It's odd for him to not do that.
And it was a line drive. It was a bullet. They cut out before he even touched first base.
It was amazing. That's why he's a god.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of baseball gods, sadly Fernando Tatis has COVID. So that's not fun.
I said I never wish injury on a player, but the Padres are hot and the Dodgers might be hot again. I don't really know how the Dodgers are working. So
shout out
as many
Padres,
games
though. They called up UConn product John Andrioli to replace him.
It's true. Big on them. I still don't like I can't like them though, because the Giants need to gain. They need to have as much of a lead before Tatis comes back and before the Dodgers get red hot, because that's going to happen. We all know that.
Yeah.
That they can comfortably still only take 2 out of 3 against both of them, and they haven't played the Dodgers yet. That's what I worry about.
Yeah, that's amazing to think that they haven't, especially considering them and the Padres have played 90 times. It feels like the Dodgers. I mean,
Same thing with Red Sox and Yankees.
That's true. Yeah, still waiting for that matchup. Red Sox A's great series though. A's took the first game last night, but the two titans of the American League at the moment.
Yeah, we thought the Royals were one of those too, but we didn't really think that because they're like on a 10-game losing streak now.
No, I had gotten a text a couple weeks ago saying, when should we start taking the Royals thinking they're for real? And I'm like, let's give them the month of May, see how it goes. 9 games lost in a row.
Yeah. Although the Giants overtook the Red Sox for the best league record in the league. Sorry. So that's a big deal, and that's behind their pitching. The Red Sox are doing it mostly. Their lineup is
turbo lineup.
White, white hot. There was the first 2 games they haven't scored over double-digit runs in the last month. It seems like.
Chris
meanwhile,
Bassett
the Giants
pretty damn good last night.
The Giants are meanwhile winning 2-1 games, 1-0 games. Unless it's the Rockies, they're not scoring more than 4 runs.
Yeah. Poor Rockies. It's
tough
for them. At least they get the All-Star game.
Logan Webb there. I think he's technically their sixth starter. When Cueto was out, he got called up, but he threw a gem last night. 6 innings, 10 Ks, 1 hit.
Not bad for a depth starter.
No. And he's
I'll
still a
take
young
that.
guy. He's got great stuff, but he's technically still a rookie.
Yeah. So Dodgers have been cold, no doubt, with the injuries and underperformance, but Gavin Lux changed that last night against Seattle. Hit that big home run, looked at the dugout, yelled big LFG. We all know what that stands for.
Yep.
But yeah, that was an electric moment. Well, I mean, it's Dodgers, so not so much for
He's
you,
got
but it was an electric baseball moment.
he's got great potential. Great potential.
Yeah. We saw him jump on the scene in 2019 a little bit. Not much of him last year, but he might be back.
Yeah. Too bad May's gone. Boo-hoo.
Yeah.
Um,
You had a feeling a guy throwing like 100 as a starter with that turbo movement, he was probably going to get injured at some point.
yeah, and then 2 more things, both technically about the Red Sox. One's a good thing, one's a bad thing. Vasquez, I'm not going to say offensive because Posey's hitting 400 and Molina looks back. But defensive, he's better than Realmuto doesn't look good or great. Vasquez looks like the best catcher.
He's good back there for sure. It's been
Got
a
a great
up
arm.
from the days of when all the pitchers wanted Sandy Leone instead of him, but yeah, he's doing a very nice job back there for sure.
Well, Leone couldn't hit to save his life.
Except in 2016 when he was randomly the best hitter in baseball for like a month.
That happens though. We just pretend to forget them.
I love Sandy Leone.
And then the not so good thing, Cedric Mullins hit a triple on an infield fly.
That was just ridiculous.
I don't understand why it wasn't considered an error.
Neither do I, but
Bogarts should have caught that twice.
yeah. I mean, hometown scorer maybe.
Great heads up play. Like that's the base runner you love to see.
Oh yeah. No, Cedric is having a really, really good year.
Yeah. No, he leads the AL in hits, I believe.
Yeah. I mean, there's another
no,
guy.
and then
The Orioles we talked about.
yeah, no, that was a heads up play though. Like he saw the shortstop, the third baseman, so that means there's no one on third because usually the third baseman's going to stay at third, but none of them knew who was catching it.
Yeah.
And he saw that Vasquez shouldn't have had. He should have known to cover third, but at the same time, he never thought that was not going to get caught.
Mm-hmm.
It's not
That's
like
why
the
you
pitcher
say
just
you want smart base runners rather than fast base runners. But if you have both, yikes.
yeah, like Buxton, he's both.
Yeah, that's true.
But I mean, Mullins is fairly fast too, and he knew he saw no one at third. He beat Vasquez is running in catcher's gear. He's never going to win that race, so he beat him to third.
Yeah. No, that was.
It's not like
That's pretty special.
the pitcher's just standing there on the mound. The White Sox, oh my God,
Oof.
lost the game because the pitcher just stood there on the mound, not believing he
awful.
gave up didn't catch it or whatever. You got to know.
I mean, with all the PFPs these guys do throughout high school, if you go to college and then spring training, they should definitely know to cover the base at this point in their careers.
I get you're upset, but you can't let that get in front of you.
You just gotta get over there.
Yeah.
Understandable to have the emotions riding high, but not much of an excuse for that one. I'll be honest.
No, I agree.
And our final note, the Yankees are starting to become the Yankees again. They're heating up. Even though the Nationals blew those games, they still took care of business against them because they did have to come back. Nationals had a great tweet on Mother's Day. It was final. Sorry, Mom.
That's a good one. I don't understand why the MLB keeps promoting Gary Sanchez. He sucks.
Kyle Higashioka is really good. Like they started
pitchers
starting
are
him more often.
Pitchers have like working. A 1.7 ERA when he's catching. When Gary's catching, it's like a 3.46.
Yeah, I think that says everything.
If that doesn't tell you. Yeah, that's the number you got to look at, ERA.
And the offensive statistics are much better for Higashioka right now too. And it's cool.
Defensive
too. Been in the minor leagues for so long, coming up, making an impact on that team.
Yeah, and defensive, we know Gary can't play defense.
Yeah, we do.
But he made one throw in the MLB. Like, I don't even know what. Yeah, whoa, Yankees catcher does good thing. Oh, it's Gary Sanchez. Oh, we don't care. Yeah, release
will
the
say,
Kraken.
the John Sterling calls are entertaining. That's a great Twitter account.
No, it is.
Speaking
Another
of weird John
Yankees.
Sterling calls, Giancarlo is heating up, which, considering all they're paying him, that's the least they can ask for.
You can say he's the best hitter in baseball, but I mean, he's getting paid like he is, so he should hit.
He should be, yeah.
But he also can't do anything but hit home runs, except for the walk-off single he had.
Yeah. And even that was like exit velo of $1 billion.
Yeah. No, they're hard hit balls. I'm not gonna lie.
The man swings out of his shoes. It's
But
like a
Laboratory-
controlled swing out of your shoes, but still.
Yeah, no, well, that's just because his arms are so strong. Like, it doesn't look like he uses his lower body, if I'm being honest.
Yeah, no, he's just,
He definitely does, but
I don't know. The guy's jacked.
yeah, no, and then I wanted to touch on Torres because I saw a report that Story's best landing spot would be the Yankees. I mean, I know they want to keep Torres' bat in the lineup, but where would they put him? Because Voigt's back, so LeMahieu's at second now.
Yeah, I mean, I would have to assume that you'd have to make Stanton play the outfield and DH Torres in that situation.
Which means you got two liable guys in the outfield.
Yeah, Judge out there, I mean, he'll get hurt at some point anyway. But Brett
I don't
Gardner and
know.
Hicks, neither are having great seasons, so I guess you could bench one of them.
Yeah, I think you have to, but like, you need like that speed in the outfield. Although their field's kind of small, you know, they got that short porch.
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure it makes the most sense. I saw one. If Crawford starts to slow down, maybe he goes division rival. That's not going to happen. I'd love Trevor Story. It's not going to happen though.
No, they won't. You never know.
Cardinals
see.
have a guy. Hayes maybe.
Yeah, I mean, lost Simeon. Certainly not impossible.
Yeah,
Jed Lowry
him and
is
Chapman.
God all of a sudden. I mean, you knew he was
Yeah,
going to
I
go back to the A's and do that.
No, I mean, great for him, but did not think that.
We'll add that
Rangers
to
was
our
another
list of Mets
possibility.
sadness.
Yeah. Oh yeah. You go to the Mets, you suck. Like Pilar was an MVP candidate a few years ago with the Giants. Now he sucks.
He had a nice year in Boston too.
Yeah. Mets, nah, no bueno.
Yeah. And then we'll have another item of Mets sadness. They fire Chili Davis, and Zach Scott, their GM, acting GM, I guess, doesn't even tell the players. So you have Pete Alonso sitting in his locker crying because of it. Because he found out on Twitter.
Yeah, that one's
Mets sadness is just all-time high.
That's just Mets being the Mets. I don't even know what to say about that one.
Yeah. It's a tough scene.
Big time.
Well,
I think that's all though. We can end on the Mets sadness.
we end the
I'm good
show
with
on
that.
Mets sadness.
Naturally.
Banner week. I'm sure that Frank the Tank over at Barstool is loving it.
Yeah, no, they had a few walk-ups though. Okay. So
Yeah.
they're okay.
So they
They're
got that
happy.
going for them.
But anyway, great show.
All right, guys. Great.
Yeah, like we said, next week we're planning on doing Monday, Thursdays now that finals are over. So we'll get recap of the weekend, looking at the rankings, and then Thursday we'll look ahead to the weekend and look back at the midweeks for college and MLB. And of course, our high school shout out of the week we'll do on Thursdays, probably. And be on the lookout on the YouTube. Hopefully starting in June, Hunter's going to start breaking down some prospect tape for you guys. And we're going to start streaming the show on our YouTube.
We'll be pumping out content in all-time high. Now that we'll have more time on our hands. So big things are coming.
Start getting some merch. If you guys want some merch, we'll do some merch.
Yeah, give us ideas.
Yeah. Tweet us at
Beyond the Diamond Pod. We're more active on there now. Beyond the Diamond Podcast on Instagram. We're always our DMs are open. We're happy to talk.
Yeah, we're active everywhere. Send us a message. All right, guys. Thank you.
We love talking.
Yeah.
All right, guys. We will see you next time. Thanks for listening.
Right.